Next, AC current we were doing. So alternating current.
I would have content this video study.
So what is okay, listen once. In the current, there are two types. Okay, one is the alternating current. Second one is the direct current. Okay, one is alternating current, the other one is the direct current. Direct current means it is unidirectional. That is, it will flow in the one direction itself. Okay, whereas the alternating current, that means it flows continuously. It's changes its direction. It changes its direction. Okay, so this is the positive cycle here. From the zero again, it is changing its direction. See, this is the positive direction. That means, think maximum current is 5 amps. Think it is 5 amps. So from zero, it increases to 5 amps. Okay. Then it from 5 amps, it decreases to 0. From then it changes its direction. So here we call it as minus 5 amps. Then it again comes to 0. It goes on like this. Again, I repeat how it goes. Think the highest value is the 5 amps. That we call it as amplitude. Okay. That we call it as amplitude of the current. Amplitude. Okay. So the highest value. This is 5 amps means it starts from 0. It keeps on increasing until 5 amps. It decreases, then it changes its direction. It goes like this. That's why we write this as minus 5 amps. Okay, minus 5 plus 5 like that. So here current is changing its direction. That's why we call it as alternating current. So to the house, what we get is the AC current, that is the alternating current, which has a frequency of 50 hertz. Okay, for home, what we get is the AC current, alternating current. Okay, so the frequency of this is 50 hertz. And the voltage, what we get? What is the voltage we get here? 220 volts. Okay, so what do you mean by frequency? Frequency, it is measured in hertz. Okay, frequency SI unit is hertz. Frequency SI unit is hertz. Okay, what do you mean by hertz? It is the SI unit. Okay, and what is that frequency? See here, at one point, if you consider how many the complete cycles can move out of it. Consider one point. So how many cycles will move through that point in 1 second? So whatever we get here, that is 50 hertz. That means 50 complete cycles will move past through 1 point in 1 second. So that is why it is called as 50 hertz. And the voltage what we get is the 220 volts. Okay, voltage what we get is the 220 volts what we get. This is and whatever the circuit we have in the home, it is the parallel circuit. It is parallel circuit. Okay, so what are the advantages of the parallel circuit? Parallel circuit, as we know, like we have a resistor here, we have many bulbs. So anything what we have, maybe this any device what we are using, it will be in the parallel circuits. Like this. Okay, so the voltage whatever we get 220 volts will be applied to this. Okay, so what are the advantages of parallel circuit in the home? Whatever the circuit we are using, that is a parallel circuit. Okay, so what is the advantage of having that? One advantage is if one bulb will blow off, then it is not working, it is a open circuit. Then what happens? But the other circuits can work. But if you consider same thing in series, for example, if you consider same thing in the series circuit, okay, so if this bulb is not working, means it becomes a open circuit like this. Then what happens? All other circuits also will not work because current will not pass through it. How the current can pass? Whenever there is a continuous loop or a continuous path, then only current will flow. Correct? No. So if there is a break here, what happens? If there is a break here, it will not, current will not pass through that. So one bulb is not working in the home, everything else will not work. So that is the reason it is not in the series circuit, it is the parallel circuit. That is the main reason. Second thing, the voltage applied in a parallel circuit is what? All will have the same voltage, 220 volts. Correct? All will have the same voltage, 220 volts. So all the devices are getting the same voltage, but here it will divide. Correct? No, that is also the second reason. And the third reason is the resistance will be less in the parallel circuit. What we studied in electricity, resistance is less in the parallel circuit than in the series circuit. So because of all these reasons, whatever the appliances we have in the home, they are connected in the parallel circuit, not in the series circuit. Okay, so clear now? We'll write few things now. So in mobile and all, what we use, no, the frequency of that is 10 to the power of 9 hertz. In that range, gigahertz, it will be there somewhere you see. Giga means 10 power 9 gigahertz. Okay. So that is 10 power 9 hertz is called as a gigahertz. That is, in 1 second, that many cycles will pass through a point. Okay. So the frequency is so much high. And why they use a higher frequency? Because since the frequency is more, then energy in that will be more actually. Okay, energy in that will be more. That is why they tell, no, you can use the phone, but you have to not keep it for a long time. What is the reason? The radiations from that, whatever the frequency it will be there, no, even our body will observe that radiations, it's very large. Because of that, it may cause some problems whenever you are using for a longer time. So that is why they tell you have to use it, but in a minimal way, like that. Mobile mind frequencies in gigahertz. Okay. So what is alternating current? When the current direction is changing, that we call it as alternating current. Okay, when it is changing, we call it. The direction of the current will be changing, then we call it as alternating current. And why we are using alternating current only? Why not direct current? Means the current comes from the power station, it is produced in the power stations. Okay, from there it has to reach the home. So there what happens? There will be loss of the power. Power means current into voltage, we call it as power. Always we try to measure in the terms of power. Okay, so there will be loss of the power. At least some minimal loss it will be there, but when you use the direct current, the loss will be very huge. That is the reason we use the alternating current. Okay. And in India and all, we used 220 volts, 50 hertz, whereas voltage is that much. Okay. Whereas in other countries like US, it is 110 volts, what they use as the voltage. Voltage will be around 110 volts there. Here we use the 220 volts. Okay. And in the TVs and many appliances, what they do, the alternating current will be converted into direct current by the some electric circuits. Then it is used in the many appliances. What they do in many appliances, so direct alternating current is converted into direct current. There is some circuit, they call it as filter circuit. There it is converted into direct current. Then it is used. Okay. But for us, what the in the home, what we get is the alternating current. It is denoted by DC. It is denoted by DC. Okay, that means that mainly indirect current means the direction is same. It will not change. For example, you have like this current is like this. Okay, what does it mean here? Okay, the current can be in this like this also. That is from 0 it is increasing to 5. It is reducing to 0. It is like this. It is changing here, but still the direction of the current is same. The values if you plot, the direction of the current is same. Okay, but the value is changing there. Yeah. So here this also we call it as direct current only, because direction is not changing, only its magnitude is varying. Okay, but whereas in alternating current, the direction of the current itself will change. Okay, when you power stations, what they produce itself is the alternating current. In the power station, what they produce the current itself is the alternating current only is produced. That is only it's supplied. In high voltage, it is produced that they step down to 220 volts and it comes to the home. Okay. Whenever it is produced in power station, the voltage produced will be in kilovolts, 1000 volts, more than 1000 volts like that. But they will step down, that is, they will reduce to 220 volts and it comes here. Okay. Next, alternating current. Write down. All these questions they can ask. Sometimes whenever this tricky, no, whatever we will be explaining, those portion also they will ask. So anything you feel it's like you can note it, you write down. Write down. An electric current whose magnitude changes with time and direction reverses periodically. You're able to see, right? It reverses periodically is called alternating current. Okay, it is denoted by AC. Write down sources of AC. Sources of AC are hydroelectric generators.
Where is that with it?
Write down this sequence after. Sources of AC are hydroelectric generators, thermal power generators, nuclear power generators, etc. Okay. The number of cycles completed by AC in 1 second is called frequency. of AC. The SI unit of frequency is hertz. Hertz. So the frequency of AC in India is 50 hertz, which means that AC changes its direction after 1 by 100 seconds. The advantage of AC over DC is that electric power can be transmitted over long distances without much loss of energy.
Release the point.
Okay. Next, write down domestic electric circuits. Domestic electric circuits. The electricity generated at power stations. Electricity generated at power stations is brought to our homes by copper wires. One of these is called live wire, which is at a potential.
Why is it copper wire? Not other wire.
Which wire you can use other than that? Huh? Which one? Which one you think we can use?
Aluminium.
Aluminium wire. Which is costlier, aluminium or copper? That's why they use copper.
They can still use.
See, when you are using in a large scale, economics also improve. Silver is the best conductor. But that wire will not be there for tomorrow if you are keeping there. Sorry. And it is not economical also to use, no? Silver wires. That's why they use copper wire only most of the time. One of this is called live wire, which is at a potential of 220 volts. Okay, which is at a potential of 220 volts. Zinc. With a frequency of.
Why not zinc?
See the cost.
Zinc is ductile. Zinc is ductile.
All metals are ductile, but copper, it is good conductor. One thing, it's better than zinc also. And zinc, just in the galvanized sheets and all, they do the zinc plating. You would have heard, no? For that only, the cost is so much. Think of a wire gate using zinc. Zinc, it will be more costly. Yeah, it will conduct.
It's more expensive than copper.
No, why not?
The other wire is called neutral wire. Okay, it is called as a neutral wire.
Why is it known as
Which is, you write down when afterwards I'll explain, which is a zero potential. Which is a zero potential. Okay. Which is a zero potential. Write down everything, I'll explain after.
There was some.
Right. Usually, there are two separate circuits in home. Okay, first one. Lighting circuit with 5 amps. Second one, power circuit with 15 amps. With 15 amps.
This is so cute.
Yes. Write down everything. I'll explain after.
I'll just pick up.
Good. Each distribution circuit. Write down this. Each distribution circuit is provided.
You should see the hands notebook.
Hmm?
You should see the hands notebook and try to read this part.
Okay. Separate fuse.
Very much. You
Write down earth wire. Earth wire is used to avoid risk of electrical shock. To avoid the risk of electrical shock. Once read and come in the home, tomorrow I will explain the whole thing. Okay. Here we will end the today's class. Do not forget to subscribe the channel. If the content of this channel is useful, please like the video and share with your friends. Thank you.